all the kind of mics.
All right, the program is Empowerment Half Hour. And this week's edition, we look at intellectual property rights. Intellectual property rights. And to do justice to that topic, I have in the studio Professor Bankole Sodipo. Professor Sodipo is an associate professor at the School of Law and Security Studies, Babcook University. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I am Abiodun Akomu. Prof, let's talk about intellectual property rights. What are these rights?
Intellectual property rights is an area of law that covers patents, trademarks, copyrights, and designs. The purpose is to protect the creative, inventive, and commerce. Those who are creative, that is those who do music, those who write books, those who do software, those are protected by the law of copyright, is an aspect of intellectual property. Those who package their products, sell their products, they have logos, they have brands, those are protected by trademarks. And then for those of us who are inventive, like who invented the yam pounding machine, for instance, then those could be protected by the law of patents. So all this fall under intellectual property because they're the creation of the intellect, property that emanates from intellect.
Okay. Why do we need to protect some of these things in the first place?
You need to protect in order to encourage creativity,
Okay.
in order to protect the consumer, the public.
Okay.
For instance, if I want to buy Gary, I will probably go around and taste the Gary. If I want to buy toothpaste, I cannot go to the supermarket and start tasting toothpaste. But I identify a toothpaste by the name, by the logo. And so I ask for the toothpaste by that name or the logo.
Okay.
If there is no protection, if somebody else can call his own toothpaste my toothpaste, then the producer of the toothpaste will suffer, but the public will also suffer.
Okay.
So the intellectual property is to protect the individuals or the corporations that produce these things and also the public.
Okay. You want to let us into the extent of coverage of these rights. Maybe you want to list some of the areas that you feel these intellectual property rights cover.
Yes. To start with copyright, for instance, protects creative works, like I said earlier on, literary works, which include software, books, letters, poems, the scenarios of the Nollywood films, for instance, will be protected by copyright literary works. It protects artistic works, which includes drawings, paintings, photographs. Protects music, like the signature tune of even your program is protected by copyright. Copyright protects broadcasts. Copyright protects sound recordings, films. Trademarks, on the other hand, by the name connotes what implements of trade, marks that are used in the course of trade, in the course of providing services. They're protected by the law of trademarks, whilst patents protects inventions. And the idea is that if you invent, like the person who invented the yam pounding machine, I mean, I love yam, for instance, but some of us buy the yam pounding machine from Japan or from Korea. I don't think the Japanese or the Koreans produce, I mean, they eat pounded yam. They do, at least not inyo. Yet, they produce this. Now, the patent system is such that the person who invented the yam pounding machine could have protection and a kind of right, exclusivity, which is like a monopoly, to stop the whole world from producing the yam pounding machine unless they pay him some money, which is a license fee, a royalty. And therefore, he can make money. So it means that people can be empowered by the intellectual property system. Because there is protection which can stop them from, I mean, to stop the whole world, the third parties, from copying them. And when they can stop the whole world, then they can be able to recoup their investments. Yes, and that's it, the interesting thing about intellectual property.
Every nation has intellectual property laws. Do you want to tell us what it looks like in Nigeria?
Yes, Nigeria, we have the Copyright Law 1988.
Okay.
We have the Trademarks Act, which was passed in 1965, which covers trademarks. We have the Patents and Designs Act 1970, which cover patents, inventions, and also designs. For instance, the spare parts of equipment, cars, and so on, those drawings of the spare parts or drawings of the textiles. I mean, we are promoting local textiles. Those designs can be registered as industrial designs, and the people who created them can use it to make money because it can stop people from copying them.
So some of these laws you have listed, especially in Nigeria, how effective are they, especially in this part of the world?
Laws are effective to the extent to which the people whom the laws have been made for know about it, then to the extent to which they seek to enforce the laws. On the average, most people, most right holders, most creators do not know the kind of laws, protection which the Nigerian government, as our father, has rolled out for them. And as such, sometimes when their rights are infringed, they don't know what to do. They sometimes say they don't have money. Sometimes they don't, that is money maybe to consult lawyers, because lawyers are the ones that seek can help people to enforce their rights. Sometimes the regulatory authorities which the government has created, such as the Nigerian Copyright Commission, whom copyright holders can approach, is often not empowered by the government, because enforcement means vehicles, means inspectors, copyright inspectors, are people who can go around policing rights, who can prosecute, because the laws vest the Copyright Commission with power to prosecute infringement, criminal infringement of copyright. However, the Copyright Commission, to my knowledge, is not well funded by the copyright, by the government. Then right holders often too, even if they know their rights, often may not be empowered or feel they are empowered enough to approach lawyers to say, look, I have a grievance, what can I do about it? Let's go to court. Meanwhile, it's called property. But because it's intangible, because you can't touch it, unlike land, if somebody purchases on their land, they are ready to fight, and they can fight forever. But it's not the same for intellectual property. And those are the things which we believe that people like you, in terms of educating the masses, can help in terms of empowering them, because education is empowerment.
Okay. The program is Empowerment Hour. Today we're discussing intellectual property rights. Professor Bankole Sodipo, an associate prof at the School of Law and Security Studies, Babcook University, is in the studio answering some of these questions. There will be more questions after the break. Stay with us.
develop without empowerment, NTA Lagos Channel 10 and Microris Empowerment Scheme has recorded lots of success stories in training, seminar, and during Empowerment Expo Beyond Borders. The program Empowerment Half Hour is now on TV. Time, 10:30 a.m. on Sundays. Are you a talented young entrepreneur or SME looking for empowerment? Here is an opportunity for partnership, collaboration, and youth empowerment. You can also be a guest on NTA Channel 10 Empowerment Half Hour. Visit NTA Channel 10 at Tejo Show or contact the consultant. You can also follow us on YouTube or Facebook. For comments and inquiries, visit www.ncalagoschannel10.net/EBB. Telephone number 0705 534 3121 or 0802 3003 805.
You're still on to Empowerment Half Hour. Prof, piracy is a major problem in Nigeria. And if you look at the impact, especially on artists and some other people who are into creations, who are into inventions and all that, you will know that one begins to wonder if some of the laws you earlier highlighted are effective, because if we have the rate at which intellectual properties are being pirated, then one begins to wonder if such laws are effective in Nigeria.
Well, I mean, just like electoral laws, the reason why some elections have been upturned is because the people affected decide to challenge in court. The point is that there is insufficient enforcement by right holders. Piracy thrives sometimes because there's lack of, there's inadequate infrastructure for distribution, so the products are not available. If they are not available, the laws of demand and supply, then some other people will make them available. Or because the products are expensive and so they are not affordable. The interesting thing in Nigeria is that most of the products are so cheap. I mean, the price of CDs, so the excuse is not there that they're not affordable. And I'm not too sure whether you can say they're not well distributed too. But certainly there is a lot of piracy, and one of the reasons is because piracy has become organized crime. Some of the people behind piracy in Nigeria are people who are using it to launder money, which they're from illicit drugs and some other things. And the federal government needs to realize and appreciate that in order to, if you fight piracy, you'll be fighting illicit drugs, you'll be fighting illicit business. And because the pirates are so rich, they are so well organized, they are able to fight back. Some months back, the Copyright Commission swarmed on Alaba, and they fought back. They beat up policemen, they burnt police cars and Copyright Commission vehicles, and the attack, the raid failed. However, it doesn't mean that raids will always fail. And if you try and stop a thief today and you're not successful, I believe what you should do tomorrow is to plan until you catch the thief.
Prof, what do you think is responsible for the failure in enforcing copyright laws in Nigeria? What are the factors militating against the enforcement in Nigeria?
The first one, like I said, is that the government regulators are not empowered by the government. So the government needs to properly fund the Copyright Commission, properly fund the Trademarks, Patents and Designs Registry.
But how will funding affect enforcement?
Oh, funding. When you don't have the officers who can prosecute, who can fly to any part of the country or drive to any part of the country with a view to prosecuting a case. And so when the right holder has made a report and then a case must be prosecuted, it's a criminal action, and he has to fund the officer in the Copyright Commission. Funding matters. If it is a civil action, you need to instruct your lawyer, and your lawyer will charge money. The lawyer may have to go and prosecute an action on your behalf in Kano. He has to fly down. It is money. And often, most of the right holders they've not developed the culture of spending money for enforcement. Piracy raises security issues. Today, many of us are paying some money to secure our homes, our businesses. If you buy computer software, you need to pay for security or antivirus, and the same thing which the right holders have not realized they need to do with their business. You buy a car, you must insure the car. So if you are in the copyright, a business which copyright must protect, you need insurance by putting down a budget towards fighting pirates, because the pirates will come after you.
Okay, let's look at this situation. In the case of a right owner, who only manages to come up with something creative, and his intention is to probably, after selling some of these things, he will recoup his money. It's obvious that he doesn't have money. So where do we expect him to probably get money to invest or to insure his creativity?
Yep, that can be done through collective administration, through unions or associations of right holders.
Okay.
If you join this association, you pay a token of maybe 1,000 or 5,000 because of a large membership. They have arrangements with a team of lawyers, and they can protect all the members. So you don't have to dole out so much money to fight the pirates.
Okay. Apart from the regulatory agencies set up by the government, don't you think there are other responsibilities that government ought to take up?
The government, I said earlier on that the laws seek to protect the right holders, the private people. And then the public benefits from that.
Okay.
So it's a private right. There's a limit to what the government can do in protecting private rights, just like somebody's land.
Okay.
The government will not help you to retrieve your land. The government has created the legal framework for you to retrieve your land. Now, because these are intangibles and because it affects a lot of people, and we're talking about empowerment, the government must empower people. So I believe right holders can lobby the government and say, look, you must fund the government regulatory agencies or fund our private agency so that we can fight. Because if you indeed want to empower us, this is a sure way to help us, because it's like insurance. You must do that.
Prof, earlier you made mention of some forms of intellectual property laws. I want you to dwell more on them so that people out there watching us will understand some of these things. Earlier you made mention of copyright. What is copyright?
Okay, copyright is a right that inures to people who are creative, who, for instance, you draw a picture, you write a song, you write a book, a poem. Copyright law protects you. And the interesting thing is that you do not need to register copyright. Copyright is not registrable in most parts of the world today.
Why?
It's an arrangement which comes under some international treaties, that there must be no formalities to protection. Once you have created a work, you should have automatic protection, because we are all from the creator. And once you have created something, the law should protect you.
Okay. Let's talk about patents now.
Patents deals with inventions.
Okay.
Drugs, that's medical medicines. I mentioned the case of the yam pounding machine earlier on. So if you do something that is new, it's new and it's not obvious. For instance, the other day somebody brought a machine that counts money. That's not new. But the improvement he did to that machine is that machine also can detect counterfeit currency. Prior to this, how do you detect counterfeit currency? You use mercury lines, and then another machine to count money. But he has now merged the function of the two. That is an invention.
Okay.
And based on that, he was able to obtain a patent. With this patent, he was able to stop other people from copying that technology, because he had been given a monopoly by the Nigerian government to do this. He had been empowered by the Nigerian government to stop other people. So, meanwhile, he'll be able to, when he has the monopoly, he'll be able to make a lot of money through the monopoly rights that he has. The interesting thing about them is that they are for a period of time. So that, for instance, Shakespeare's books are no longer protected by copyright. Yes, so usually life plus about 70 years, life plus about 50 years in some cases for copyright. For patents, just 20 years. For trademarks, it's only for 7 years, 14 years, and 7 years, you can renew trademarks forever. So the Coca-Cola mark can be renewed forever. Yes. But
okay, Prof, we are still coming back to some of these other forms, trademark, trade secrets, all these, you are going to shed more lights on them right after the break.
Society developed without empowerment, NTA Lagos Channel 10 and Micro's Empowerment Scheme has recorded lots of success stories in training, seminar, and during Empowerment Expo Beyond Borders. The program Empowerment Half Hour is now on TV. Time, 10:30 a.m. on Sundays. Are you a talented young entrepreneur or SMA looking for empowerment? Here is an opportunity for partnership, collaboration, and youth empowerment. You can also be a guest on NTA Channel 10 Empowerment Half Hour. Visit NTA Channel 10 at Tejo Show or contact the consultant. You can also follow us on YouTube or Facebook. For comments and inquiries, visit www.ncalagoschannel10.net/EBB. Telephone number 0705 534 3121 or 0802 3003 805.
So, Prof, let's talk about trademark. What is trademark?
A trademark is a mark, a logo, a name, a design that is applied on a product or services that identifies that product or service with the person that offers the goods or the services and distinguishes his own products or services from the products or services of other people. And so it helps us to know, oh, this is from this. You may not even know the product, the manufacturer, but you have identified quality with it. So if I travel to Law Village, for instance, you're doing a party, I don't know about the pure water they're selling, but if I see a pure water with a name, I know. That name gives me information that there is a quality that I've known with this. It is safe. So I don't need to ask you, which one should I take? Because I already know this. That's the function of the trademark.
Is it renewable?
It's renewable for about 7 years, every 7 years.
Trade secrets. What about
a trade secret? It's unlike a trademark that is registrable. Trade secret is just a secret. So you trade with it, but you don't divulge the secret. And once you divulge it, there's no protection. For instance, the formula for Coca-Cola is a trade secret. I understand only a few people, living people, know about it. I hope they don't die before they pass it on. And that is interesting because there's an aspect of intellectual property which is now called traditional knowledge. The knowledge from our herbalists.
A kind of native intelligence.
Native intelligence, which have not been passed down over the years and which some of us are saying internationally now, we must have better protection internationally for traditional knowledge.
Okay, Professor Sodipo, I want you to, succinctly, let's look at the place of intellectual property laws in the empowerment of, in empowerment, so to speak. What's the place of these laws in empowerment?
In empowerment, you realize that you have your idea for your product. You must protect it. Otherwise, you can take it to a financier and he can run away with it. In empowerment, you design this logo. It can be protected by trademark. So go register your trademark. In empowerment, you have this song, your signature to your program. You are protected by copyright. So that informs you as to how you can stop people from copying your own song. So without the intellectual property system, the whole system of empowerment, which NTA is doing a beautiful job on, educating people and empowering people, without people realizing the rights they have, intellectual property rights, they would not know how to protect and how to enhance the products and so on and so forth. So it's very, very important.
Professor Bankole Sodipo, I want to thank you so much for coming on today's edition of Empowerment Alpha.
My pleasure.
Yes. Well, today we've been discussing the place of intellectual property rights in empowerment, and our erudite scholar, Professor Sodipo, has been enlightening us on some of these things and shedding more light on how these rights can actually empower us as a people. Well, until the same time next week, when I come your way again, I remain Abiodu Akomu.
Without empowerment, NTA Lagos Channel 10 and Micro's Empowerment Scheme has recorded lots of success stories in training, seminar, and during Empowerment Expo Beyond Borders. The program Empowerment Half Hour is now on TV. Time, 10:30 a.m. on Sundays. Are you a talented young entrepreneur or SME looking for empowerment? Here is an opportunity for partnership, collaboration, and youth empowerment. You can also be a guest on NTA Channel 10 Empowerment Half Hour. Visit NTA Channel 10 at Tejo Show or contact the consultant. You can also follow us on YouTube or Facebook. For comments and inquiries, visit www.ncalagoschannel10.net/EBB. Telephone number 0705 534 3121 or 0802 3003 805.